Aloha! This is a short video to get you acquainted with the basics of stand-up paddling. The ideal conditions for learning how to paddle surf is low wind and low chop. You want a nice calm day with calm water. There are 3 basic positions you can use on a stand-up paddleboard. First is the prone position. To do this, simply take the paddle blade and lay it right underneath you with the paddle shaft up. You will barely feel it underneath you. Now you can paddle like a regular surfer in a prone position and get wherever you need to go. The kneeling position is the second way to ride a stand-up paddleboard. To ride on your knees, you'll need to find the sweet spot on the board. It is generally the spot in the center of the board, depending on your size. Make a mental note of where the sweet spot is, as it will show you where to put your feet when you stand up. Now that we've found the sweet spot on the board, let's cover the basics of paddling. The paddle is to be held a lot like a canoe paddle. Right hand on top, left hand on bottom if you want to paddle on your left, and vice versa if you want to paddle on the right hand side. When you stand up, you'll use the T-grip, but while on your knees, you'll need to hold it further down the shaft since you're closer to the water. One of the common mistakes in paddle surfing is holding the paddle the wrong way. This is the correct way to hold it. Notice the angle of attack is straight up and down at the power point. The third and most fun position in stand-up paddle surfing is, of course, standing up. When we stand up, we place the paddle across the front of the board and get on our hands and knees. Then place your feet where you've established the sweet spot to be. Keeping your hips low, put the paddle in your hand and stand up slowly. Remember to stay low and keep your knees bent. Your feet should be about shoulders width apart, and both feet should be facing forward. When you feel like you're going to fall, go down, not up. Proper paddling technique is to keep your arms relatively straight because you're going to be paddling with your core, not with your arms. If your hands are too close in, it'll be difficult to get a good stroke. With your arms straight, give the paddle a downwards and back motion. Switch sides as needed. Now that we've learned the basic paddling techniques, let's learn how to turn. To make a simple turn, paddle only on one side of the board. Doing this, you will turn in the opposite direction of the side you're paddling on. Another thing you can do is called a back paddle. This is when you actually move the paddle blade from the rear of the board to the front. So if you wanted to turn right, you could paddle on your right side backwards and it'll turn you to the right. Or paddle backwards on the left side to turn to the left. Using a combination of these 2 techniques is the foundation of the basic turn. Whether you're a beginner or an advanced paddle surfer, you will fall. To keep from injuring yourself, you should always fall away from the board rather than onto the board. When you do fall, you want to fall off as far away as to not get hit by the board or paddle. Then you want to leave the paddle, swim to the board, and then retrieve the paddle. This is a relatively safe sport, and one of the only ways to really get hurt is to fall on the equipment. One reminder, when paddling on the Wailua River, always remain on the north side of the river. This is local river etiquette and will help ensure your safety. We hope you find these tips helpful, and now it's time for you to get out there and have some fun.